Welcome everyone. We are going to talk you through the Multidisciplinary Arts Bursary Award. Um, just so you're aware, if you need to use captioning, if captioning is helpful for you, at the bottom of your Zoom window, there's a show captions option, so switch that on as and when you need. So we're going to run through a little bit about the Arts Council and the Multidisciplinary Arts team. We are going to go into quite an amount of detail about the Multidisciplinary Arts Bursary. All of that detail also exists in the guidelines on the website. So come through it with us this morning. Work through those guidelines as much as you need to. Like I said, we're recording this session so you can watch back as much as you need to. Once we've gone through all of this detail, we will stop recording and we will invite you to ask us any questions you have using the chat function or the Q&A function, and we will go through your questions. We would hope to be done by about 12 noon, but my colleague Murren and I are available to stick around a little bit longer if you have lots and lots of questions. And I suppose the other thing to say is that the Multidisciplinary Arts team is about a year and a half old. We're quite new in the Arts Council. This is our first time participating in the Bursary Award, so we're still very much learning as well. So if it's the case that you have maybe complex questions or questions that we don't quite know the answer to, we are not going to give you a bum steer here, and instead we're going to ask you to email us your question or email us maybe with further details so that we can get the right information to you. Right, let's kick off. Some of you are aware of the Arts Council already, but in case we are new to you, the Arts Council is an Irish government agency tasked with developing the arts. We're a big team here, well, sort of based in Dublin, but our colleagues are spread all over the country. And we're governed by a board that are appointed by the Department for Tourism, Culture, Arts, Gaeltacht, Sport and Media. We also have, like I said, we have a big team. We also have a network of advisors and assessors who contribute to our work. The sorts of things we do is we promote the arts through campaigns and projects. We research the arts and the arts sector, and we share that research with the sector itself and with government. We offer advice primarily to government about the arts. And then the thing we do the most of, and the thing we're known best for, and the thing that you're here for, is we fund the arts. So we offer a whole pile of grants directly to artists and arts organisations. We're the Multidisciplinary Arts team. Hello, I'm Aideen. My colleague Murren is here. We also have a multidisciplinary arts advisor called Sinead, who will lead on the assessment of things like this, our bursary award. And we also have a digital arts assessor called Denise. So if yours or indeed other applicants' work contains a lot of digital technology in the making of it or in the presentation of it, or perhaps in the kind of the conceptual thrust of it, Denise sometimes weighs in on that in order for ourselves and our colleagues to really understand the digital that's happening in an artist's work. And just to say, it was on the last slide. We have recently published a multidisciplinary arts policy statement, which is sort of the set of guiding principles that Murren and I and our colleagues use when supporting multidisciplinary arts. So it was recently published. We can share a link to it in the chat. And it might give you a kind of a greater insight into what this team does and how we're going to do it over the next number of years. So on to the bursary. A bursary award supports individual artists and arts workers to develop their practice. It focuses on providing you with time and resources in order to think, research, reflect, upskill, and really engage with your practice. It's a one-year award. You can ask for a minimum of €5,000 and a maximum of €20,000. It goes to an individual applicant, so not an organisational applicant. And the closing date is coming up soon. Oh, someone says they can't see slides. Yeah, if we flick them off and on again, maybe that'll help. but I can see your screen. Yeah. Myrn and I are in the same room, which is why we can. Oh, and some people can. Um, can anyone else let us know if they can or cannot see slides? Gwen can also see them. I think it seems as though most can see them. Mark, do you mind hopping out and hopping in again? And maybe that'll help for you. Okay. Mark has hopped out, and we'll just give a second if that's okay, folks. Thank you for your patience. Okay, we'll keep going and hopefully Mark joins us again and catches up. So key piece of information here, the closing date, the deadline is Thursday, the 19th of June at 5:30 p.m. sharp. Okay, so what on earth is multidisciplinary arts? Um, Multidisciplinary arts is the combination of two or more art forms or creative practices, and it is a relatively equal combination of those. So, for instance, if you are someone, Mark is back and Mark's on board. Great news. We're away in a hack. So the key thing here is that if yours is a practice that really, really focuses on a particular art form and you're bringing other things in and combining them, but you're really rooted in dance, we'll say, then dance should still be the place that you apply to for a bursary. Or if the particular practice you're looking to focus on is sort of rooted in one art form, but combining others, go to that art form. But where yours is a practice where you are developing different art forms concurrently and equally, or better still, combining those art forms to create something new. And that is the kind of practice that you have. Multidisciplinary arts is where you come for your bursary. And like we said, we've recently published a policy statement so that if you need further examples of that or anything like that, go to the policy statement or indeed come to us and chat to us about it. What do you use a bursary for? What does a bursary fund that maybe other awards don't? So this is about working at your practice, researching, thinking, imagining, stewing on things, developing an idea, developing skills, learning new technical skills, working with a mentor or collaborator or collaborators in order to develop ideas or in order to upskill, perhaps supporting your development of relationships that you might need in your work, um, or developing ideas in collaboration with partners. These are some of the things that a bursary can enable you to do. You could also undertake training, such as masterclasses or professional training opportunities here in Ireland or overseas. And you can purchase a small amount of equipment and materials. So a whole bursary couldn't be used to do that. But if you've got a number of things going on and within that you're going to need a small amount of materials or a small amount of equipment, you can include that in your budget up to about 15% of what you're asking for. You can also combine things. So maybe you're undertaking some training and some mentorship and doing some thinking time or something like that. What's eligible, what costs can you include, things like that. So bursary awards happen typically twice per year. This is the first time that multidisciplinary arts is part of the bursary award at the Arts Council. You can only apply for one per year. So if you applied for a bursary in round one earlier this year, you cannot apply for this round. Hold fire and come back to us again next year. You also cannot apply more than once in a round or to more than one art form. So, for instance, a number of you, I'm sure, are practitioners who kind of move between different art forms and so on. In this case, you have to pick one. So, think very carefully about what type of practice you need to focus on right now And come to us if it's multidisciplinary, if it's about the combining, and go to another art form if it's a little more focused on that art form. Don't be sending multiple applications in multiple directions. And you also can't come to us more than once. So one application to us or one application to another team. That's it. Note that a bursary is developmental. It's about thinking, learning, developing skills, developing relationships, things like that. Actually making work, if you already have the idea, you know how it should be produced and you want to produce it, awesome. Go apply for a project award. Don't come to a bursary. Don't come looking for a bursary for that. If you already have that really clear plan, a project award is what will fund that. If you are in the early stages of figuring out, learning things, that sort of thing, that's what a bursary is for. And just be clear that at the moment, the multidisciplinary arts team doesn't offer project awards. So the sorts of projects you can have funded by the Arts Council will be quite focused on a particular art form, and we will join Project Award a little bit down the line. Like I said, we're still a new team, so we're kind of growing and building gradually. So to be eligible, you should be a multidisciplinary artist or arts worker, a professional multidisciplinary artist or arts worker. So that is someone who is an artist, producer, or curator who is actively pursuing a career across or between multiple art forms. They consider their arts practice to be their main profession or career. That applies even if not all of your income or all of your time is spent working on your arts practice. And you'll be recognised by your peers as a professional artist or arts worker. It's open to those who are resident in the Republic of Ireland. However, if you're a resident outside of the Republic of Ireland, you should explain in your application form how your proposal will benefit the arts in Ireland, and we'll determine your eligibility based on that explanation. So do you have a little think about that if that applies to you, and ensure that that is considered and you can help us to understand what that benefit is to the arts in the Republic of Ireland. In the Bursary Award, we do not accept applications from organisations, from full-time undergrad students. So if that's you, hold your fire, come back to us when you've finished your studies. If you're looking for support towards postgraduate or higher education study, if you're looking for support towards work as part of a formal course, internship, or volunteer work. We won't accept your application if you're in full-time employment unless you're seeking time away to work on your practice, and in your application you have to explain how you're going to ensure that. Like we said, if you're not based in the Republic, and also if you're an Éisteánna member in receipt of a cnuas, you cannot apply for a bursary. As we've mentioned, you can apply for any amount between €5,000 and €20,000. Don't apply for anything less than that or greater than that, or we'll deem your application ineligible. And note that if you need personal disability access costs, you can apply for those in excess of that 20,000 limit if needed, and we will explain those in a few slides. What kind of activities can you apply for, or what kind of costs can you apply for? So fees for the time that any mentors or collaborators are working on, or are fees for the time that they spend with you on your proposal. Costs for materials or equipment up to 15%, other costs and expenses that you incur developing your practice, and that includes your time. So make sure you're paying yourself for your time. Don't ask for any less than you feel you need to achieve your objectives, unless, of course, it goes beyond the 20K limit. And again, think about your time and paying for your time. Think carefully about the fees or wages you would need to give to collaborators. When it comes to determining those fees, talk to them about it. Have a think about your career stage, their career stage, the nature of the work you're doing, the duration of time you're spending working, and keep an eye on industry standards. So for instance, if you look at the Paying the Artist section of the Arts Council website, we will direct you towards resource organisations who can give you some guidance on fees if you would like or need that. So we mentioned personal disability access costs. In general, we at the Arts Council, we think about two different kinds of disability access costs. There are personal ones, which are about you and any other people involved in the work of your application. Do they require aids, interventions, supports in order to be able to participate in the work of your application? And then we also think about audience disability access costs in order to see your work, enjoy your work at the end. Does an audience need aids, interventions, anything like that? Audience disability access costs aren't very likely to be included in a bursary application unless you are considering trialing something or sharing a work in progress or something like that, in which case you may want or need to think about an audience disability access cost. And they would come from your main bursary budget, whereas your personal disability access costs, the costs for you or other collaborators to contribute to the work of the proposal, they can be in excess of your main bursary budget. Some examples of those personal or participant disability access costs, the things that you or other collaborators might need. So for instance, interpretation, supports of an access worker or an assistant. Maybe you need additional time in the making or the doing. And then some examples of audience disability access costs. Could be audio description or making a website compatible with screen readers or so on. And again, to state, these are not very likely to occur in or to be needed for a bursary, but like I said, maybe a work in progress or the trialing of something or something like that might mean that you need to consider these sorts of things. So these are some of the things you cannot apply for. So costs that don't fit the purpose of the award. Capital requests like large scale equipment or trying to get workspaces or things like that. Subscriptions that are unrelated to your work, membership fees. Formal education cannot be applied for here. Activities that are better suited to another Arts Council award. So like I said, we made a note earlier about a project. If you actually want to produce and present artwork, that's typically something you would apply to a project award for. It's not a bursary. Activities that are profit making, activities that are better suited to another state agency, such as Culture Ireland for bringing work overseas, Screen Ireland for certain film-based or screen-based practices, activities that you've already completed or already started before we will have made a decision on your application, activities that are designed to fundraise, or activities that are about participating in a competition. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Muireann now, and Muireann is going to take you through the next section.
Thanks, Aideen. So I'm going to bring you through the guidelines now, and these are a really important point of reference. If you are making an application, we would highly recommend that you read through the guidelines. They will contain all of the information you need, including the information Aideen has already gone through, but in more detail. So where you can find the guidelines is on our website, and you might have noticed we've got a new website, and hopefully it's a bit more accessible and user-friendly. So you'll come onto the homepage and you'll see the tab or the ribbon above, and you'll go to apply funding. If you click that, you'll come to the apply for funding page. Please scroll down here and you'll come to a number of the awards that are open or will be opening soon. If you're looking to apply for the bursary, it's here. So Bursary Award Round 2. If you click onto that and you scroll down onto the next page, you'll see a number of the art form and our practice areas that are available. And if you're on this info clinic, hopefully you are applying for a multidisciplinary arts bursary. So again, please click onto this page, which will bring you to the homepage for the Multidisciplinary Arts Bursary Award. And again, we've got all the key details here. So again, closing date will be the 19th of June. So please make sure you have your application in before then. We have all of the links to the guidelines here and the disability access costs activities template if you do require access costs. Please be aware that this is available in Irish as well. I just have it highlighted above. So if you're an Irish speaker and you want to make your application through Irish, you're more than welcome to. You can just change the page to Irish and all of the links to the guidelines and the templates will appear in Irish as well. And then I just have this section here ready to apply, highlighted. This is where you'll click to if you're ready to make your application. You've had a look through the guidelines and you think this is suited to you. So this is just kind of an overview. This is the first page from our guidelines, separated into 5 sections. So again, about the award itself. Section 2 is about what you do before you apply. So this kind of includes eligibility criteria, that kind of thing. Section 3 goes into detail about how to complete your application form. And section 4 goes through submitting your application. So this will be on our online services system. And then section 5, after you apply, what happens next? And this will go through the assessment process. And I'm going to go through all of these sections right now. But again, this is what the first page of the guidelines look like. Please do read them. They contain really important information for your application. So we'll get started on the application process. Back to the Arts Council homepage on our website. You'll go to apply for funding again, and you can visit our funding portal online services. So online services is basically the portal which you will make your application through. We can't actually accept applications by post, fax, email, or delivered by hand. It all has to go through our portal. So you'll need to set up an account. If you have one set up already, that's fine. But if you haven't yet, please get this set up as soon as possible. It takes about 5 working days for everything to go through. You'll be assigned an ARN, so an artist reference number and password, which you'll need to log in. If you have any technical issues accessing your account, you can go through our online services team directly, as I will just have to, if you come to me, I'll have to pass you through to our OLS team and it would just delay you. So the email address for our online services team is onlineservices@artscouncil.ie, and I've got 2 phone numbers there as well. So again, this is just what the homepage looks like, and it's available in Irish if you'd like to submit your application in Irish. So this is where we get into making your application. You've set up your account or you already have your account. Your bursary application form must be filled out using Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel, which you can download once you start to make your application. And we also have the Open Office Writer and Open Office Calc available if you prefer. So you'll log into your OLS account and on your homepage, you'll click Make an Application here. It should look something like this. Once you've gotten into the next page, then you should have your details here, applicant name and your ARN appear, your name and address. If you're happy that that information is correct, you can click the checkbox there to please confirm that your details are correct. If they're not, you can update your profile before you move on, and you'll click next. This should bring you to the next page, making an application, and this is where it comes to your funding program. So as we've said already, this is the Bursary Award info clinic. So you will click Bursary when you apply. That should bring a drop down and you'll click Multidisciplinary Arts. And then you can fill in your reference fields. This can be just the title of your project or just a reference for you to remember what the application is, and you'll click next. And again, you can save as a draft if you're not ready to continue. At this point, you can download again the guidelines if you haven't already, and this is where you'll download the application form. Once you've filled out the application form, or once you've downloaded it, you can start filling it out. You will fill it out as a Microsoft Word document or an Open Office Writer document that you fill in on your computer. So again, we'd direct you to the guidelines. When you're filling this out, it'll go through each section. But please make sure when you're filling it out that you type inside the grey boxes and you don't delete anything or type outside of those. The form is set up in such a way that it will only be accepted if you've filled it out this way. So please inside the grey boxes if you can. The application form is split into 4 sections. You will fill out general information, so your name, ARN, art form, and arts practice. You'll fill out your proposal summary, key activities, any collaborators that will be involved, and any access costs you require. You'll fill out information relating to the amount requested, so what your income and your expenditure is. And then at the end, there's a checklist for the supporting documentation to make sure you've got everything there. Under application amount requested, you're going to highlight the amount you want to ask for from the Arts Council. you'll supply the total income you expect and the total expenditure as well. So please make sure the amount requested equals the total expenditure minus the total income. And these should be entered in your application form as well. The final two parts here is uploading the application form. So you'll click choose file and you'll select the application form from where you've saved it on your computer and you'll click upload. If you see a message that says cannot upload form, try saving it as a doc file and uploading again. And if you can't upload it, please contact the online services team. And the next section then is to upload your supporting material. You can do this basically the same way. You'll select the type of documents you want to upload from where you've saved them on your computer. You can add a note to describe the material you're uploading. You'll click browse and select that file to upload, and you'll do this for each of the documents until you click next. So before you submit, please check that all of the details with your application are correct. Make sure that everything you've uploaded is the proper documentation as well. You can then click you agree to the above declaration and you can submit your application on OLS. There's also the option to save draft anytime you want to just take a step away or you're not ready to complete it. Once you've submitted your application, you won't be able to make any changes. So please make sure you've got everything up to date and correct. If you've made a mistake after you submitted your application, please contact us. You can contact me directly at Multidisciplinary Arts at artscouncil.ie, and I'll have that contact information at the end of this presentation. So the mandatory documents you will need to supply are the completed application form, a separate detailed up-to-date CV, so a maximum of 3 pages with a clear description of your area of artistic practice and track record. And please supply up to 3 examples of work that demonstrate your multidisciplinary arts practice to date. And you can provide a brief written context for each work if you like. In certain circumstances, you'll be asked to provide other documentation. So if you have any collaborators involved in the project, they will need to supply brief biographies outlining their expertise, accreditation, and track records. They can also supply letters of support outlining their involvement in your proposed work, including a confirmation of fee. If you are requesting disability access costs, you can fill out the disability access cost template, which is on the website that I showed you earlier, or you can provide a separate budget and document outlining these costs. And then finally, if you are planning to work with any animals, you will have to, if you are successful in your application, you'll have to show that you have an animal welfare protection policy and procedure. If you're working with children and young people, and if you're working with vulnerable adults, you will have to highlight this in your application. There is a number of tick boxes in the application form. And when you are preparing your mandatory supporting material, please ensure they're in the acceptable file format. You can have a look at section 2.6 in the guidelines for more information on this. Please name the files clearly and appropriately. Review the list of mandatory supporting documents in section 1.9 of the bursary guidelines, and please upload the application form and also reporting materials, and just double check you've uploaded the correct files, and you'll be ready to submit your application then. So this is what happens after you've submitted your application. We will go through the assessment process and decision-making process as well. So once you have submitted your application before the deadline, the assessment process will begin. You should get 2 emails, one immediately after to say we've received your application, and then one a little bit later to provide you with your application number. And this should be, it should begin with an A, and there should be about 6 digits. So A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you don't receive these emails, again, please contact our online services team at onlineservices@artscouncil.ie. For your decision, you will get an email within 12 to 15 weeks to let you know if your application has not been shortlisted, just not shortlisted. So if you have been shortlisted, you'll go forward to peer panel, and then you will get an email to tell you whether your application has been successful or not. But please note that this time frame depends on the volume of applications we receive. Finally, just to go through what happens next, all eligible applications will be checked. If you're not eligible, you will be notified by email. We will have the assessment and scoring by arts teams and advisors. You'll be recommended or not recommended for shortlisting. A peer panel, an external peer panel, will go through those shortlisted applications and make final decisions about whether they should be recommended for funding. And we will then communicate decisions by email to applicants. All applications will be assessed based on your artistic merit, your achievement or your meeting of the priorities of the award, and feasibility. So those are the three criteria. The guidelines will go through what we expect from your application in more detail regarding these assessment criteria. And then we're coming to the end of the presentation. So again, some general advice is just to give yourself plenty of time to complete your application. It'll take time to set up the application and it will take time to start to write your application. So please give yourself the time before the deadline. Just make sure you're set up on OLS if you're a first time user. And you must again apply through OLS. We won't accept applications any other way. Make sure your proposal is referring to the priorities and objectives of the award. So once again, this is a developmental award. Please read the latest guidelines to any and pay attention to any must or mandatory statements. Please make sure you understand the eligibility criteria, scoring process, and any weighting for the assessment criteria. Please double check you have uploaded the correct supporting material. You can even have someone double check your application before you submit it. And if you are providing a number of documents that are the same type of file, so you might be providing CVs for a couple of people, you can combine those if you like. It'll make it easier for us in our assessment. It's not a requirement, but it could make it easier for you as well. So the final details, we're going to hammer home. The deadline is Thursday the 19th at 5:30. So the 19th of June at 5:30, and that is a hard deadline. We won't accept applications after that date. If you have any queries, you can contact me at this number, 087 794 1044, and the Multidisciplinary Arts team can be contacted at multidisciplinaryarts@artscouncil.ie. If you have any specific queries relating to your online services account, or you have any issues uploading your application, please contact the online services team and the contact details are here. And finally, before we finish, I'm just going to go through some frequently asked questions that we've received, just to kind of clear up any miscommunication or, any, I suppose, confusion over the application process. So we get a lot of questions about multidisciplinary arts. We're a very new team and we're still trying to figure that out ourselves. But for the moment, for the purpose of applications, multidisciplinary arts is the combining of two or more art forms or creative practices equally. So if your application emphasizes one art form over the other, you're probably better off going to that art form. And again, we do have our recently published policy statement on our website now. So can I apply for the bursary award if I'm not based in the Republic of Ireland? So you won't be eligible, but there is the caveat that if you can demonstrate that your application will benefit the arts in the Republic of Ireland, you can apply. Please just outline this in your application clearly and provide the rationale. Then the next question is, can I make more than one application to the bursary award? And the answer is no. You can only be one lead applicant in this scheme. So you can't apply to through two art forms. You can't apply to multidisciplinary twice. So just one application for the bursary award. Should I apply for bursary or project? This will be up to you, but our advice is again that the bursary award is developmental, gives you time to think, research, reflect, and engage with your practice. Whereas project, you'll probably be creating or producing work at the end or engaging with the public in some way. Please note that multidisciplinary arts won't be available in the project award. And we've got some questions about in-kind support as well. So in-kind support just refers to anything that your project receives that is not financial. Could be someone donating their time or professional skills to your project without charging a fee. And maybe a venue, like a local arts centre, might supply you with equipment, materials, or rehearsal space that your proposal requires, again, without a fee. And that is the end of the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing, and I think Aideen will stop recording.